Hello everyone and welcome back to Coronavirus Corner. Mandy popped round for a cup of tea today. I could see she was feeling terrible. "Oh dear," she said, "that awful interview and the article in the paper. Oh Edna, I feel so stupid. I looked like a tart. I told her not to be silly. You're beautiful," I said. And she burst into tears. I gave her a big hug. I told her I couldn't care less about Boris Johnson. If that little ferret Dominic Cummings can do as he likes, there's no way I'm going to watch you crying and not give you a hug, I said. Anyway, nobody's going out much on our road. We're all careful and we sneeze into our elbows. She said she was worried about what Charles will say. Well, I said there's no point worrying, it's done. And he's a kind man. I'm sure it'll be all right. I hope I'm right. She said the vicar had been talking to someone in the diocesan press office and they'd told him just to ignore it or it might escalate. They said there'd soon be a bigger story along to take folks' minds off it, but that if anybody else asked to speak to him, he was to let them know. I thought I'd better change the subject. So I told her about the time my Auntie Nancy took Maureen and me to Alton Towers because she'd always wanted to go on the corkscrew and she insisted we all went on together, and Maureen was terrified before we even set off, and she was wailing like a little ghost ever so quietly as folk got on. "Oh, oh, oh, I don't like this. Oh, Auntie Nancy, please can I get off?" But Auntie Nancy wouldn't let her. "Facing your fears builds character, Maureen," she said. "That's why I never wear underwear when it's windy." I don't know if it was true, but it took Maureen's mind off things. You could see her trying to work out what she meant. Her eyes looked like a fruit machine trying to decide where to stop. And while they were still rolling round, we set off. "Oh!" she wailed. She was in the middle and she grabbed our hands and almost broke our fingers. "I'm shutting my eyes, Edna," she shouted, and she did. Auntie Nancy and I were laughing and shrieking, and then we suddenly screamed and Maureen squeezed our hands even tighter and said, "What's happened?" And I said, "Oh, Maureen, you can't see where the ground is." And she said, "Where is it, Edna?" And Auntie Nancy shouted, "About 5 inches above your head, Maureen." And her little face. And when we came to a stop, she said, "Where's the ground, Edna?" And Auntie Nancy told her we were upside down, and she kept her eyes shut for ages. And when we got off, we all fell over. And then we linked arms and went off and bought chips and candy floss. Oh, Auntie Nancy was so much fun. She was 76 then. Mandy had a smile on her face by the time I'd finished the story. You can't help smiling at Maureen. She's wonderful. Today's sensible tip is, if something's bothering you, find something else to think about. Maybe something funny like a silly memory, or something to keep your brain busy like working out how many minutes the Queen's been alive. You take care, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.